Welcome to chapter 20 of the book of First Chronicles. A very small chapter, basically all about war. Seems like there's a lot of war in the Bible, but there's a lot of war in the world. But today there was an interesting thing I saw. Well, maybe I guess you would call it a little bright spot. In Egypt, they have had the mummies of, I think it was 10 pharaohs and 4 queens in various places, and they have decided they build the largest museum in the world, and to move these mummies there and have special displays for them. And these mummies go back 1,500, 2,000 years before Christ. I mean, it's amazing. There was no Jews around at that time. It was before Abraham, some of these, I believe. And so they put special vehicles to put these sarcophagus on, and they had a ceremony going down the road. It's very, very beautiful. It's awe-inspiring for all of these famous pharaohs all to be featured in this giant, what you would call it, a festival, or not a festival, or a scene that they put on. It's on YouTube, and you can see it. I recommend it just because of its beauty. Now, the pharaohs even had war. They had armies and went through war. Everybody seems like they have went through war. The 20th century, the last century, which I lived through more than half of, there were more people killed in Europe between the Nazis and the Soviet Union, and then other countries in the war, and the people that were killed. It was just devastating how the world can turn into something like that. I'm sort of expecting a war now, a big one, maybe the biggest ever, to occur pretty soon. Unfortunately, I see Israel as a nation, but the Muslim nations are against it, and the country of Iran has developed or is developing nuclear weapons, and I see that Israel will probably do something to stop it, which could very well cause the rest of the Muslim world to become unhinged. And the allies of Iran are Russia and China, so it could end up being a worldwide conflagration, sort of what is mentioned in the, I think it's 37th, 38th chapters of the book of Ezekiel, the Valley of Bones. It begins, and it came to pass in the year going out, in the exiting of the kings, I put for war, because that's what it's talking about, that Joab led all the force of the military, stratias, and ruined the place of the sons of Ammon, which is in today's Jordan. The capital of Jordan is Amman, Jordan. And he came and besieged in Ravah. That would be in east of the Jordan River. And David settled in Jerusalem, and Joab struck Rabbah, and he razed it. And David took the crown, the Stephanon, Stephan means crown, of the Vasileos, from the head, from his head, the king, and found the weight of it to be a talenton of gold, and on it a valuable stone. And it was upon the cephalic is a derivative, head of David. And he brought forth exceedingly much spoils from the city. And the people in it he led out, and sawed through with saws, and by adze of iron, and by threshing machines. Now, what this means, if he's tortured them, or if he's killed them, or if he's put them to work, is conjecture. And thus David did to all the cities of the sons of Ammon. And David returned and all his people unto Jerusalem. And it came to pass after these things that there was still polemics in Gazer with the Philistines. Now we're going down to where the Gaza Strip is, where the Palestinians are today. Still at war. Then Sovaki, the Usathi, struck Saphi from the sons of the Giganton. We have gigantic, comes from that, the derivative of a giant, sons of the giants, and abased him. And came to pass yet again war with the Philistines, and Eleanan, son of Iair, struck Lachmi, brother of Goliath the Gitteu, the Hittite from Gath. And the wood of his spear was as the beam of a loom of one weaving, and apparently a large handle for these machines that give him force to be able to weave with the loom. And it came to pass yet again a war in Gath and the Philistines. And there was an immense man, and his dactyly, ambidextrous, not dexterous, that's another word. Dactyl is your fingers moving, and the toes were 6 by 6, 20 and 4. Well, I saw a picture of a man in England who had the same thing, and it was on the internet, and he would go and it was 2 thumbs, and he would show little children his 6 fingers, and they were just fascinated by seeing this, which kids are when they see something that's different. And he berated Israel, just like Goliath, and Jonathan, the son of Samaah, the brother of David, struck him. So he was a nephew to David. These were born to Rapha in Gath. So apparently there's giants were in that area from the Nephilim and have different names for them in the Bible. These giants, it talks about these giants in the book of Revelation, how they came and had relations with the daughters of men. And so some type of a being that are not really around any longer as they were at the beginning of time have changed or died out and married into the human race, and their genes disappeared more or less, but every once in a while they popped up someplace or another. All 4 were gigantes, were giants. And they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. As I mentioned, it's a short chapter, but we'll continue in the next chapter with David numbers Israel, takes a census. Doesn't turn out well, though. We'll find out how that comes about. We'll go through chapter 21 next video, and I hope you'll join us. Till then, God bless.